What's going on, everyone? Train Freak here, and man, has it been a while since I have done a layout update. So while I tell you about what you're to expect, we're going to kind of watch the local here switch out some cars at an industry that has just recently been built, and we have a new name for this industry. So we're going to go over all of that here shortly. And I'm going to just basically share with you all of the changes that I have done for the town of Hickory Ridge. And it's really going to change the way that we are going to be doing some operations in the future. So hang tight and just watch the local do a little bit of switching here, and we will get on with all those upcoming changes. Alright, so this is almost a finished project. Still got a little bit more to do on it, but I've decided it's no longer going to be Juicy J's Meat Company. I did a lot of research on this company here, and I think it would be pretty cool considering that the fact that my last name is Wilson. I'm going to slide these cars out. If you saw the video earlier, Wilson and Company Meats. And doing a lot of research on this company, they were headquartered out of Chicago, but they had meat packing factories, one in Oklahoma City, one in Omaha, I think another one in Kansas City. But they were a pretty big company, so big that they even did more than just food. They made medicine. And it's the same people that did Wilson Sporting Goods. They would actually take the animal hides and use it to make footballs, basketballs, baseballs, even, mitts or gloves, whatever you want to call them. So that's why they say toting the pigskin, because it was actually made out of pigskin. So, which I think is really, really cool. So I decided this is no longer going to be Juicy J's Meats. It's going to be Wilson and Company. It's going to be a factory, not their headquarters. So let's explain. Well, before I explain how it all works, I'm just going to kind of show you where I'm at with it. It's all put together. I've got the roof on. Some things I'm going to have to do is I got to come back and cut this little piece off. Same over there. I'm going to have to cut it off too. I'm going to have to come in and repaint the insides gray. I have not got the fire escape system on it yet, but I do have it assembled. These are each of the cages. And I mean, the detail is just insane on these. And then we got the ladders that's going to go from each level. So I still have to glue those on here. And in order for me to do that, I'm probably going to have to pick the building up, lay it on its side, and glue them down that way. Probably the cages first, and then I'll do the ladders in the upright position. So that's why I still have all that up there, because I'm not done with this building. I kind of want to do some decals or something along these bricks here. Not sure exactly. I've got some more detail parts, some roof accessories as well. The roof, this is black foam core, so that's what the guys over at ITLA said to use, so that's what I'm going to be using. One cool neat feature is this little opening here, which is a, you know, entrance. The ceiling in it had a hole cut perfectly for the just plug lights, the peel and stick lights. Now, of course, you're not going to be able to peel and stick it, but you can glue it in place, and it actually looks pretty cool. But I do not have the just plug lighting over here yet. And these are going to be the offices. I'm going to see if I can't find a way to maybe try to individually light some of the small windows, you know, without, you know, destroying it too much. I want to find ways to light individual rooms and light most of this building up at night, unless it's not going to be like 24/7 ran. I did make the bottom room here like a security guard, because you got to think, this is the back side of the building. The front side of the building would have the parking lot with all the employee parking and whatnot. You know, on our model railroads, a lot of these industries we're looking at are the back side where the railroad would service. So, of course, that would be the security shack on the bottom floor for the back side of the building. All right? And you could even have some type of person working in there that has to do with the receiving and the sending, you know, receiving and shipping. All right, so enough about the building. Let's talk about some of the small changes I had to make this work the way I wanted it to. All right, y'all remember I had a three-way turnout here. So I took the three-way out. I was looking for two number 4 switches. Couldn't find them. I felt like number 6 was going to be too long. So I settled with number 5s. So these are 2 Pico number 5s. That I put in a crossover fashion. And when I say look for 2 switches, it's more or less along the lines of, did the local hobby shops near me have it? Because I didn't feel like ordering and waiting. I wanted to kind of go ahead. If I had a little bit of time to work on this, I wanted to get to work on it. Took the three-way out, put the crossover in. Now this is a code 100 switch, so it's in temporarily, so I haven't drilled the hole here yet. And what I found out is the hole for a 100 and an 83 is 1 tie off. So I haven't drilled the hole for that there. But once, you know, my local hobby shop gets their code 83 switches in, I will replace this one and another one that way, which we'll get to in a minute. So, y'all remember Shaka Sit used to sit here. It no longer does. This is going to be what's called the cleaning track. And I've got a building on order from a local hobby shop. It's a Rail and Sprue Hobbies out of Jacksonville. That's the company I went with this time. And it's actually, the building's going to be the Walters Cornerstone Brickswork Shed. It's a metal shed. And so that's what I'm putting here. And then I'm going to put a small dock between the building and the track. So, and let's get to the reason why that's the cleaning track and why I put that switch in going under here. So this is the receiving, okay? So Wilson & Company is going to be shipping dressed meats from their main slaughterhouse over, you know, at one of their other industries where they actually receive the cattle, and then they cut it into quarters. So we call those dressed meats, all right? And so Wilson & Company here is going to be receiving the dressed meats here. Well, once these cars are empty, they have to be cleaned. So just like you saw just a second ago, we had the local come in. He pulled 2 cars out of here, dropped them off over there, and then dropped 2 loaded cars back under the overhang, all right? Now, cars are not going to sit on the cleaning track overnight, all right? But they have to, during an operation session, they have to sit there for at least 10 minutes. So what would be good for the operator is to do this first. Set the cars there, work the rest of the layout, then he can come pick these cars up, all right? Now, where are these 2 cars going after they're picked up? Well, they got to go back down the ladder where that local is, and they got to come this way along these tracks. This is shipping, all right? So inside there, and it's long enough to hold 2 reefers. All right, so it's long enough. And that's where they're going to load it with processed meats, and depending on the season, if it needs to be iced or not. Summertime, it'll probably end up being iced lightly because, you know, the summer heat, we don't want canned meat to cook in the cans. So, but I thought that would be really good for a, you know, for the 2-story section over here. That's where they're actually loading and icing. So the empties, or the clean ones, will go in there. And then this track here is actually serving a dual purpose, and it's plenty long enough that when the 2 cleaned cars come to pull the 2 loaded ones out, locomotive can back up behind the crossover, drop the 2 loaded ones to be picked up out, pull back up, drop his other cars off. All right, the clean ones to be loaded. And then, you know, figure out on getting the rest of the cars back on his train. All right, so like I said, I've got a building to go there. I'm thinking, and I'm not 100% on this, but the cleaning building would have been used with steam. And back in the late 50s, they would have used either coal or burning oil to light the steam generator. So I was thinking this would be really cool for, I could bring a tank car in here, you know, randomly to sit at this track, to load that up with the tank, you know, the burning oil. So I thought that would be a pretty cool scenario, but I'm not 100% I am going to go this direction. So that might stay there and it might not. And I know it kind of blends in, but if I kind of come off to the side, you can see it's basically just an elevated tank car, and then I would take some piping and continue this pipe here to go into the building. So that's kind of my plan with that. Got a couple of building flats there just for the time being. They're probably not going to stay there. Actually, that one's going to be too modern, so I'm probably going to end up selling that. So if anyone is interested, this is from PGH Train Fanatic or PTF Designs. He actually gave me a pretty good deal on this one, and this one does have an LED in it. But the reason why it's too modern is, looky there. They didn't have surveillance cameras back in the day. So yeah. And it's got a cool little bicycle on it, but that looks a little too modern too. So yeah, that building I will not be keeping. Probably the same for that one, because I think the sliding up and down door with the oval windows is a little too modern as well. I'm gonna have to double check. It might be a keeper, it might not be a keeper. So all right, let's go down that way and see what all that's about. All right, so we got the shack of sit over here now. And so basically what I did differently, I'm gonna move this locomotive and a couple of cars out of the way so you can see. So here was the original ladder coming in, and we didn't have this switch here, and this was that other code 100 that I talked about that's going to be in temporarily. We originally had another switch right here that went this way because I was thinking this is where the brewery was going, and the brewery needs 2 tracks. But I was like, you know what? No, I'm going to go ahead and move shack of sit here because it's small enough. It's not going to be as deep as the other, so I said that would be a good spot for it. But this switch here is what's going to go into the brewery, and then we have a Y there. Now I had a code 83 right-hand turnout originally, and I'm working on a kit bash here and video to come out soon, so this is still kind of a work in progress. But it's got a track that kind of goes in the building, but it's also got a track that goes in front of the building. So that way you can kind of see where that's going to be at. And of course I will cut out the cork and put in masonite there. Depending on the radius of the curvature coming out of this Y here is going to depend on how far down this brewery goes. Alright, so brewery name is not going to be Feinstein's. We're actually going to make it Budweiser. Budweiser, of course, was in St. Louis, but they had a major distribution warehouse down in Pine Bluff where I grew up. But of course, my Pine Bluff area is not going to be built for a lot of industrial, just because of the way the layout's going to be designed. So we're going to throw Budweiser in Hickory Ridge. So, yep, I'm working on the Budweiser plant right now. Like I said, video to come out soon on it. And depending, when I get done with Budweiser, as far as the main part of the building, not necessarily details, main part of the building will depend on exactly where Passmore Gas Company goes. And then I might have to kind of redesign that just a little bit, but that won't be anything major. And then, of course, wherever Passmore Gas goes, depends on how much longer that track that's going straight off that way will be. It'd be really nice if I can stop it right there at that joint. That would be amazing, but I don't know if I will or will not be able to. And if I can relieve some track, then that's going to depend on the backdrop, how much more farmland we'll have, and then it's going to be shifting back into woods. And would be pretty cool to have this whole corner back here rice fields and whatnot. Maybe get like a sprayer or something out there. That'd be pretty neat. I don't know what kind of sprayers they had back in the 50s. It probably not the big alien looking ones, but maybe like a tractor, a 50s model tractor, like a John Deere or something, or an International Harvester with a sprayer on it. I think that'd be pretty cool to put out in the middle of that field. So, and that's rice. So, which means I'll have to find a way to put some levees in there, which will probably be little things of masonite. I might have to put some weird strips of masonite or whatnot in there, just like really, really weird strips. Or what I might do instead of masonite is just use plaster. You know, get some of that aluminum wire screen and put rolls. You know, kind of roll it up and then kind of staple it, because the levees don't need to be real high. So kind of staple some little rolls in it and staple it down to the plywood, and then bam, we can have a rice field. So that's kind of my plans on that. As far as those houses, don't really know. Haven't really focused on scenery except for over that way, but I haven't really had time to do any more on that. Trying to get this building done so that way I can get this figured out as far as a backdrop. And then for operations, it's so much more fun to operate into buildings than just a blank area. And so once I get these buildings lined out, that'll allow me to get the backdrop for here, and then we'll start working on buildings over in Brinkley. So that's kind of where I'm at with this update. So if you like what you see here, you know, make sure you hit that subscribe button, fill in the bell. Hey, thumbs up always helps too. So, but yeah, definitely. And other than that, thank you for my extended channel supporters, though, that go above and beyond just hitting that subscribe button. And that's by either joining the channel as a channel member or checking out my Patreon, Teespring, in that direction as well. So, all right, well, sorry it's been a while since I've been able to get you an update. I still got more on the honeydew list to go, so I don't know when the next one will be, but as soon as I get that honeydew list finished, I will be back on these updates a lot more often. So I appreciate y'all working with me on that, and y'all be safe out there. I wish y'all have a great week and a happy Memorial Day weekend, and happy railroading.